James from Esperance Distillery Co. Firstly, I'm sorry because the footage you're about to see is super old. I'm up in Perth at the moment. I'm just traveling. This is like, well, honestly, the first time I've actually had to sit down and edit some footage. So the footage you're about to see is just of the highlights of the buildings that we visited. We inspected over 12 different buildings, as in physical site inspections, and we actually searched for a whole bunch more than that. So we've kind of cut everything down, or else you'd be here all day just looking at me going, oh, I found a new building, hooray. So we're trying to speed things up a little bit there. I promise to try and get out some more videos more rapidly, because we're actually launching in probably less than 2 months now. And so we really want to sort of bring you up to speed on that journey that's been happening since February, March, earlier this year. Also, give us a cheeky like or subscribe if you like this content. We've also launched an Instagram page. I'll shoot that in the link below. Check that out, it's Esperance Distillery Co. We've also been filming a whole bunch of really cool chats with really cool people in the Meet the Locals series that we've launched. And I'm trying to keep the blog updated as well. I'll also shoot a link in for that. Anyway, I'll leave you to it. Stay tuned. See you in the next one. In about half an hour's time, we'll be heading down to what we're calling the Glass House on Dempster Street. It's a lot more central in town. It looks like a great property. I think we'll get a lot more foot traffic there. The rent's considerably more. It's 3 times more per month. And we're just not sure if it's suitable. We haven't actually seen it yet, so follow us along and we'll give you a tour of a second building. We're still looking at another premises as well in Bandy Creek, but we're just having a bit of trouble with the leasing agents, so hopefully they come to the table and we can get in there and potentially have the building surveyor look at a third property, and at least then we've got some options. The issue with the building surveyor is that he is based in Albany, which is about 500 kilometers away, which is not too short, like not too far away in Australia. It's pretty far in Europe. Yeah, so he's going to be coming next week, and it'd be great if we can have him sort of inspect a few different properties. Alright, we're just here at the Glass House. It's pretty exciting. It's heaps of glass, as the name implies. Walking through the back area, so this backs onto like another sort of complex. Comes through, this is probably where we'd be looking to have the still. Nice high ceilings, which is cool. And then it backs onto an area. This is all closed off, it's got double doors so we can get pallets through here. Got pallet access there as well. And this huge, beautiful glass wall, which would be awesome. Flooring is a bit of an issue, but the ceilings are looking good. We'd probably have to pull these up. And in terms of height for the still, you could definitely fit in our first still, but in terms of room for expansion, probably have to shoehorn it in. Also, we'd have to bund this area off and then deal with drainage, but it is on the sewer, so we've got a bit of sort of wiggle room there. This area looks so cool for a still, don't you think? It just looks like a little alcohol making heaven. And then Dad can kind of live in here, and I can deal with customers and admin and bottling and whatnot through that. So I'm just down here at one of the more unique buildings we're checking out. It's an old train station. We're looking to put the still in the old Ticketmaster's booth with the storage and ideally food prep in a carriage. We were also really keen to have people in the carriage. We've been informed that unfortunately that's not possible to have the public in a carriage. But yeah, we'll check it out and I'll bring you along. We've just arrived at the train station. It's certainly a pretty interesting building, and you've got an old carriage there, which is just sweet. It's actually really cool, and you could definitely fit a layer of distillery equipment. We've been told that the building isn't set for regulation, but we do have a nice double door just here which could be used for transporting bulk materials. And we've got some cool little lights. Yeah, seems pretty cool. But definitely the piece de resistance is the train carriage, which is just so cool. Apparently it's not fit for the public, can only be used for storage. But imagine if you could have a bottling area and tastings set up here. It would just be so cool. Yeah, this one would be a bit of work. It would be so cool if it was already set up and sort of ready to go, but based on our discussions so far, I think just a concrete shed with a sewer access is probably the minimum requirement to be able to get going without spending thousands of dollars on getting things set up for regulation. Yeah, onwards and upwards. Definitely a pretty cool space, don't you think? Well, another day, another building we're going to check out. I'm getting bored of even saying this, so we're going to check out a place in Pink Lake. It's on sewer. It's quite a small space, which is good for us. It's in a reasonable price bracket, and it's got toilets. It's got car parks, it's got security, so it's actually looking pretty good. It looks kind of interesting. So we've got a big space here. I'm not sure what we do here, eh? This is a false wall, so we could knock that out if required. Got like a little countertop thing here. Got a little office area. The roof's a bit shabby. Got the potentially the wet area, which could be where the distilling takes off initially. Got a double door there, so we can get some access through. We'd have to sort of sort out maybe a forklift access or something, but we could do that through here. Probably not high enough to get a forklift through, but potentially. And then yeah, a nice little backyard area. We've got 2 toilets down that way. Got like a concrete pad here where I think they used to have like a cool room or something. Still needs a bit of work, but everywhere we've seen needs a bit of work. I think if we can get the ceilings sorted, then could be okay. And if it's on sewer, then we've got a bit of ground room for later activities. It's not really a super high ceiling, but we might not need heaps of height. I don't know, seems okay. It's probably still not the ideal location, but if we just need to get up and get going, you know, it's got potential. So this is probably like the 7th location we've also viewed, and it's starting to get a bit exhausting. And then we're also going to have to change all the ATO approvals because our approvals were done for a separate building. So yeah, we're just really keen to find the right spot in town. So another day, another couple of buildings. Hey, so we're back at Pink Lake. This property is actually shaping up to be okay. We've just sent off some inquiries to the Water Corp, and got the Shire coming in tomorrow. Yeah, the backyard area is awesome. Definitely, I think Kaiser, the local sort of event organizer, is going to get quite excited about this. It's Friday. We've just had a meeting with the Shire, just trying to get an idea at this moment for what sort of costs are going to be required to upgrade the property. Just things like emergency doors, making sure they're up to spec, toilets, access points, disabled access points, potential trip hazards, lightings, refitting of furniture and whatnot, suitability for ceilings, flooring, bunding, coving, a whole bunch of stuff that a month ago I had no idea about. Starting to warm up to this building as well. We've still got a plan B option that requires a minimum $10,000 firewall just to get up to spec. But you know, yeah, there's potential here. And so just had some friends down to check out the Pink Lake space, and everyone was like, whoa, not the location I would have chosen, which is pretty true. You don't really think of Pink Lake. It's a little bit further out of town. And it's in an area that's not really well known to be like a real hub of town. But the problem is in Esperance at the moment, rent prices are very high, And it's primarily due to the fact that a few people own a lot of the town, and they're quite wealthy, and I don't think they really worry if the space is empty. It's not really as much of a priority, which means that there are a lot of empty buildings in town due to those high rent prices. And exactly us, we're a factor of that, getting driven out a little bit further. But it's also a really good opportunity because I think this part of town doesn't really have too much to do. So I think it's going to be a blessing in itself. So we're back at Pink Lake, here with a good mate of ours, Bainey. He's a concrete, or he's a bit of everything to be honest, and he's helping us out getting some quotes on what the different work is required. We've got to get up in the roof and check out why this air conditioner is leaking. Just see what the guys are up to outside. Have a quick gander. Hopefully we'll get an idea of what's going on and how much it is to cost to fix it. Hey, welcome back. It's been a while. So I'm at the distillery, which I'm starting to call it that, which is really exciting. And I'm starting to 3D model the entire place for a few reasons. First of which is that I'm looking to try and communicate what we're trying to do better with the Shire. And my plan is to create a 3D model, and I've got some augmented reality glasses, and then I can take the Shire foodies and speak with them and show them what we're looking to do and get them to essentially pre-approve a project. What I'm trying to avoid is miscommunication errors that could come back and add significant cost. So I've learnt SketchUp just through YouTube videos and LinkedIn Learning, and I've just created a to-scale model of the building, and the plan is to use that to-scale model for not only the Shire but also to communicate the structure of the building and our intentions to the building surveyor, which we require to change the building code from a code 6 to a code 6 with an amended code 8, which is required for manufacturing and retail. So that's also quite handy because our surveyor is 500 kilometers away. He's the closest surveyor, so it should speed up that process as well. And then finally, our intentions are probably at this point just to start with manufacturing and use local bars and whatnot to start supplying our gins. But down the track, SketchUp's actually a really incredible program to assist with 3D modeling and interior design. So I've also been looking at some interior design videos and trying to get a better understanding of how that whole industry works. And SketchUp's going to be a really useful tool to trial ideas and prototype, and then we can also import that into augmented reality and get a better feel for what the actual space could be like before we put those funds to work in making that happen. In terms of where we are with the process at the moment, we're working with the Shire to progress our Section 39 and Section 40 approvals. That's taking a significantly longer amount of time than I was expecting, but it's just the nature of the beast, and as with these things, it always takes a bit more time and money. I just wasn't expecting the local government approvals to be essentially one of the largest items to cover, which is, I guess, naive at this point, but we're just working through them at the moment, and to be honest, it's been quite frustrating. I don't think the process is very efficient. And whilst the Shire is doing a good job, and I certainly feel like the Shire has been quite supportive, overall the process is just incredibly frustrating and isn't really clear on how to go about the process. And it just in general, it's been a bit of a nightmare. I think just finally, it's been quite a realisation that the amount of changes required to a building in order to produce gin or any form of spirits is actually generally quite a lot. And here in Esperance, there's really no new buildings. Buildings are either substantially out of code. Because we're looking to amend our code, we'll have to actually adhere to several of the newer regulations. And regulations have come a long way since this building was designed. The building plans are actually still in Imperial, which is crazy. So yeah, it's taken, it's been quite a learning curve, let's put it that way. So it's Friday. Usually today I try and do a video update. I haven't actually done that today because I've been busy building a 3D model. I've just finished the 3D model and I've now exported it into some augmented reality goggles. Shout out to my friend Harold. I'm using his Movie Mask brand goggles. They're used for, he's a Norway designer and they're used in the Norwegian education industry. And his mum, she's got the goggles on, like stumbling around. It's quite funny.
I really like the skylight.
It's because it's got no roof.
Yeah. Just imagine if you just had a glass roof.
Are you in the office?
I'm still in the office, yeah.
Walk back to the front yard.
Yeah. I'm in the front now. At station 3 3/4. You have to go so close to the door. Look, there's a door.
So unfortunately, after getting the Shire in to inspect, gaining our liquid trade waste application approval for that location and having the building surveyors sort of start works on transferring the code or amending the code, we got some quotes back from builders and found that the flooring was unsuitable for our needs and had to be replaced in order to use that building. And that was going to cost around $15,000, which is like 3/4 of our budget. And even though that's a cost that should be borne by the landowner, the landlord, the process of getting them to actually invest that money was just going to take way too long. And so we actually had to pull out of using the Pink Lake property after spending, honestly, close to a month and a half investigating. And it was such a nightmare. So serendipitously, I was out surfing after this sort of disappointing realization with Nigel Metz, who's one of the owners of Lucky Bay Brewery. It's an amazing brewery in Esperance. And Nigel mentioned a number of the buildings that he looked at after hearing the difficulty that we went through with this Pink Lake property, and suggested that we look at an old fish factory on Norseman Road. Which has turned out to be quite an interesting one. So I won't say any more. I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.